There was a time I went to Obalende, yeah, and I saw all the girls, all of them knew me, and I've had sex with all of them. I wasn't gaining pleasure from protected sex anymore. Always proposing if I could pay more.
How much were you paying these women?
Then it was 700 naira.
700 naira to have sex with them?
Yes, and then 300 naira to rent the room, because it's always like a box.
So total of 1,000 naira?
Yeah, and then if I wanted to have sex without condoms, what I do is offer to pay them more, and it's like 200 naira, or then buy them malt. So like
malt, like maltina?
Like malt, yes.
Welcome back to a new season of Doyin's Corner. I've missed you guys. We've been off for a little bit. I hope you guys have missed me too, because I have missed you guys a lot. Well, we're back this season and we're even better because we're coming to you with better stories. Trust me, more interesting, more jaw-dropping stories you've never heard before. Just sit tight and enjoy the season. And to kickstart the season, I have with me a young man that has lived quite an interesting lifestyle, to be honest. He has gone from, going to several churches to tell false stories to gain sympathy, to contracting HIV, spreading this virus, living a promiscuous lifestyle, and even at some point becoming a pimp himself. But now he has gotten to a point where, he's ready for restitution and he's just trying to create awareness about this virus. And, everybody gets to that point at some point in their life. So the next person you're going to be seeing is my guest, and I'm going to leave him to introduce himself. So good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Can you tell us your name and your age and anything you want us to know about you?
Okay, so my name is Chika Wanda, and I'm from Imo State. I'm going to be 34 this year. So that's basically much about me. I'm also like a photographer and right now an advocate for HIV.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so Chika, just tell us, I think we want to start your story with how did this whole thing of going to different churches to tell them, fake stories, how did it start? How did you even get that idea? Okay, so
when I was much younger, I used to, go out with my mom. First off, so my mom was like a widow, and my dad was a custom officer. So my dad was not always around at first, and my mom was selling corn. So when my dad passed, it became very worse for the family. Mm-hmm. So my mom couldn't provide for all of the kids that were present then. So at some point, she started going to different, church members' houses in my church, because we used to attend Redeem Church then. So we're going to different members' houses, to solicit for help and all of that. And she used to always take me along because I'm like her last child, you get. So most times I see how she talks to the members and tell them, stuff that's going on at home. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she adds like a little bit of exaggeration to it, to be honest. And then, most of the time I see these members, gets so touched by the stories and all of that and gives us food stuff and money. So it went on and on because she needed me going along with her to carry foodstuffs when we were giving and all. So I was always the person she took. So but I think there was one time I was in church. I cannot remember how I was feeling, but then I was just quiet and I was alone. So one certain lady was passing, and then she looked at me and she was like, "Hi, Chika, how are you?" And I was like, "Fine." She was like, "This one, you're quiet and you're alone. What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing." And then she was like, "Are you sure? Is everything all right?" And these were questions they used to always ask my mom when we go for visiting. And then I was like, okay, let me respond the way my mom used to respond. And I was like, nothing is actually good right now, that there's nothing in the house, we are hungry, we have not eaten and all of that. And she was like, am I serious? I was like, yes. And then the next thing she did was to give me 500 naira. That was like the first 500 naira I ever had, the 500 naira note. And she gave it to me and she was like, I should go home and then I should come back later, to her house, because I am friends with her kids. Mm-hmm. So I know their house and all of that. So when she said that, I was really surprised. First of all, I was getting first 500 naira ever. And so I went to eat. I didn't even tell anybody about it. And I went to her house that same evening. And I discovered that, she gave me more money. She gave me like extra 2,500 naira. And she gave me food stuff. And I was really shocked. I was like, wow, this is so easy. I just have to talk and then I'm getting this kind of money. And then when I took the money and the food stuff, I went home, I gave my mom the food stuff. She didn't exactly, ask me where the money was coming from or where the foodstuffs were coming from, because we held the money and just gave her the foodstuff. So she just said we should go and cook it, and that's what we ate that evening. So from there on, it became something that was not really, how do I put it, I was now very comfortable with. I was not ashamed to tell people that we have problems and all of that. So I met the lady again another week, and this time I didn't wait for her to come and ask me. I went to tell her, and she gave me more money and more food stuff. So I was like, okay, let me not tell this lady again. She has helped me this week and she helped me last week. Let me tell another person. So I told another person, and then it happened. They were so quick to want to help. Do you understand? So that's when I started doing it, and I was always taking money I'll take food stuff to the house and withhold the money. So it was now like, a normal thing, right? So at some point, I started asking. I almost asked all the whole people in my church, because it was like a small parish redeemed church. So I was asking just different kind of people, and it became very noticeable in the church that I was even called out one time during night vigil. The pastor called me out and he was like, this boy goes to different people's house to beg and all of that. So I was casted in that particular church. So I had to go to another church, and I went to family worship. There on I said wanting to make the story more interesting, because sometimes I discovered that, they just give me 2,500, 3K for food and all. I needed something more, So I started with saying that I have asthma, So I would go to different church and say I have asthma. Sometimes I would even have to play the part, because, there's this thing that happened to asthma patients. They always have asthma attack and all. Yeah. And I was not wait, I can't just say I have asthma without acting like it. So sometimes I would just pretend like I'm having an attack. And, it was now something that was normal for me, because I had this thing called ASS, attention seeking syndrome. I just wanted people to notice me. Do you understand? And then have pity on me and all of that. So any little thing, any little, task I'm given, if I want to just not do it, right, I'll just start faking that I have an attack. And, I'll see people coming in. Some people will give me money for inhaler and all of that. So that attitude went on and on and on. And from asthma, I used one other sicknesses I didn't even know what it meant. It was arthritis. I didn't know what arthritis meant. I just said I had it. And, at some point, I got to know the meaning. And I now got to know that arthritis leads to paralysis. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't even know that that's what I was saying. I stopped it. I stopped using that sickness, and I started saying I had HIV, going to different church. I've been to churches it started with Family Worship Center. I climbed the altar where the pastor used to preach. I climbed the altar, and then I said I had HIV. And all of that. Before I left home that particular evening, when I said that, I made up to 50,000 naira before I left. Everybody was just calling me, hey, take this, take that, take this. And it became very lucrative. I was like, wow. So the next Sunday, after that evening, I got 50K. The next Sunday, I started, thinking of how to make more money. And then I now had the asthma attack. I pretended to have an attack. They rushed me to the hospital, and then they gave me more money, right? I was making more money. But it now got to a point where everybody started asking, wait, is it that every time this guy comes to church, something must happen? You come to church this Friday, you give testimony that this has happened. The next Sunday, you are collapsing and all of that. So they were like, you know what? They want to take good care of me. They gave me a story that sounded interesting, and they were like, they want to run a test. I don't know how confident I was that maybe if they do the test for me, it will come out
HIV
positive.
Test,
yeah,
right?
HIV test. I don't know how. I just agreed with it, and then they did the test. They found out that it was negative as at then, and there and then everything got casted again. I was like, oh wow. Since that time, I stopped going to the church. So when they found out that I was negative, then I stopped going to the church. So I now went to House on the Rock. House on the Rock was where I met very interesting personalities. I had very wonderful people that were like really genuinely interested in, helping me grow.
Right.
So there's this particular lady that was like a very good friend of mine, and I told her all the stories, HIV stories and all, and she had to make sure that she met someone in church that gave me accommodation, and she got me to be working in an NGO. Now in that NGO where I was working was where I was exposed to female genital parts, like the toys, and then that's when I started using it, and I got into masturbation. So
wait, sorry, pause a little bit. So you went to House on the Rock. Did you used to go to the altar to say, "Oh, I have HIV," or was it just like one-on-one? You or the entire church presumed at the time that you had HIV?
Well, I went to the church. I did it again. I went to the altar again.
To the altar.
Yeah, but then I was still part of the teenage church, Trailblazers. So most times in the teenage church is a very interesting. How will I put it? It's a very interesting gathering and very interactive. So they always ask questions and all of that. And I know how to answer questions to lead me to saying that I have HIV. Like I always bring it up to every conversations. And, because I sounded so eloquent and all of that, so many people were like interested to, help me and all of that. So, so everybody got to know about it, So, and then this place I was working introduced me to more stuff, so that's how I got into masturbation and all.
So there was no point where you were scared of, what if I proclaim this thing into my life? The way they say, sometimes you can actually use your tongue to proclaim something into your life. You were never worried about actually contracting the HIV, because at the time you didn't have this virus, right?
Yeah.
So there was no point you ever thought about, like, what if I catch this thing? And House on the Rock, at any point, they never tried to like run tests on you or anything like that?
No, they never did. They trusted me, and that was where I had like very quality friendships with a lot of amazing personality. So everybody trusted me, and when they started hearing stories from other church that this guy is telling lies and all of that, it really didn't bother them. It really didn't change them. But it was now me that was changing, because I was now feeling entitled to their goodwill and help. And that's the thing with being a deceitful person. At some point you start to feel like you're entitled to people's goodness and all of that. And it really struck me like down, and what really pained me at the end of the day was the fact that I lost quality relationships. If I was still in contact with those people, I think I would have been in a better place by now.
So speaking about contracting the disease itself, at what point did you realize that, you actually have HIV?
Okay, so I got into photography, and then I was now working with a very renowned photography company in Nigeria, and then I was posted to Kano. And because I've always been very promiscuous, I've always been into masturbation. So wherever I go to, I like to like explore, right? So there in Kano, I started, having sex with just anybody that I saw, because it was actually even cheap there and all of that. So I started having sex, and I was exposed to different people. And then when I spent 5 months in Kano. So when I left Kano and I came to Lagos, I was still having sex, The Obalinde area was like my home. That's where I was going to have, unprotected sex. What I do is, most times it has to be protected, but I wasn't gaining pleasure from protected sex anymore. So I started, I was always proposing if I could pay more to, have unprotected sex. And
how much were you paying these women that you were having sex with?
So then it was 700 naira.
700 naira to have sex with them?
Yes, and then 300 naira to rent the room, because it's always like a box.
So total of 1,000 naira?
Yeah, and then if I wanted to have sex without condoms, without protection, what I do is offer to pay them more, and it's like 200 naira, or then buy them malt. So like
malt, like Maltina?
Like malt, yes. So that was how it was going on for like a long time.
At this time, did you know you had HIV then?
No, I started falling sick. I was like, having fever today, tomorrow I'll have diarrhea. I didn't really know what was going on. So it was one particular time, that I had a very like a total breakdown, and I went to the hospital. I was admitted. When I came back, I was still looking pale, and the people from my workplace were like, this guy is looking very sick. How about you do a test? Because this is not how he used to look before. And you're really looking down, and you've been falling sick, like, often. So what's going on? So they told me, they gave me money to go and run the test. And when I went to the hospital and, I ran the test, they told me to come meet the counselor's office and all of that. I should go to the counselor's office and meet the counselor and talk. And then she started with, HIV is not a death sentence and all of that. And in my head, I was like, wait, am I going to finally have this? I didn't exactly have a problem having HIV.
You didn't have a problem having HIV?
I did have a problem with it because, I don't know, one thing about lie is when you always lie, you program your mind to fit into that position. So I think in my mind, I've always been HIV positive in my mind, because then when I was telling all those stories, claiming that I didn't even have a house to stay, I needed to play the part. So I was deliberately not even cleaning up myself. I would be like 2 months, I would not even take my bath.
Because you wanted to look dirty. Because you wanted to look the part.
Dirty, deliberately dirty. And at that particular point, I was forming habits in me that it wasn't going to be easy to let go. So that period, when I heard about the HIV thingy, I wasn't exactly upset, to be honest. I was just like, oh, finally, right?
Oh, wow.
When I started feeling upset was when I started, experiencing stigmatization. And it started that same day. So when I went to them, because I never really used to pay attention to how people treated me when I was lying, I never really saw stigmatization. Like, I didn't notice it because I was not really in the position. So, but when I went to back to the office and I told them what happened, I told them around 10 a.m., around 4 p.m. that same day, they asked me to leave the premises.
Because they knew you had HIV?
Yes. They asked me to leave the premises. I got fired. They were like, they just need a time that they want to do innovation and all of that. All of a sudden, they want to do innovation. Nobody told me about that before. So when I noticed that, I was like, wait, is this really happening? So because of this, they are telling me to leave. But I thought when I used to say it in churches, they liked me and they wanted me closer. So I said, feeling different. That's why I said feeling different. Now, the company had to tell the person who introduced me to them that, this your guy have HIV now, and all of that. That one had to introduce me to the person who introduced me to him, that, this one has HIV. Before you know, everybody started like, oh, he has HIV, he has HIV. I started getting WhatsApp messages, and then I started, understanding the place I had brought myself
What
to.
kind of WhatsApp messages? Like just checking on you or being rude? Or
No, like, Oga, you don't get HIV finally. Oga, you go soon die, that kind of thing. So I was getting different stuff and I couldn't take it. And, it brought me to a realization that whatever you're wishing for yourself, hope when it happens, you can take it. Because I was just telling different lies, and then when it happened, I couldn't even take it. Like, I couldn't stand a day. So I attempted suicide. And then it was carried by all the blogs and all of that, So, so from there on, life changed.
Okay, so after you got this diagnosis, you said you couldn't take the way people were treating you and everything. Did you continue having sex? Because you mentioned that you were living a promiscuous lifestyle before. So now you knew that you had HIV. Did you continue having sex with people?
Yes,
after?
I actually continued. I think, I don't know how to put my state of mind then, but I actually I continued having sex with different people. And most times, because I originally do not enjoy sex with protection, I wanted to enjoy it more, so I wasn't using protection. One thing with depression is whatever you like to do, right? Whatever you like to do, you do more of it.
When you're depressed.
Like, whatever you like to do, you do more of it. So if you smoke, you smoke more. If you drink, you drink more. So if you have sex, you have more sex. If you have sex without protection, you have more sex without protection. So it's not a way of justifying myself, because I know I put a lot of people at risk. And you see, that is why I'm out here. because I want to create awareness, and I want to be able to let them know that there are many Chika out
Like
there.
you.
So they have to be very, very careful.
There was no point at the time when you were having sex with these people unprotected that you felt bad. There was no point your conscience felt like, these people have family members, these people have, you never felt that way at any point.
Again, not an excuse, but when you're depressed, it kills your conscience. All you just want is your self-satisfaction. The pressure doesn't make you see what you are doing to other people. It just helps you, it just stick into your mind, what can you get? If it is pleasure, just get your pleasure. Do you understand? So it never really make you see what other people can go through.
So you felt like you were in such a dark hole that you were just looking for a way to make yourself feel better.
Yes.
You weren't concerned about another person or how this might be affecting them,
yes,
or
I
anything.
wasn't.
And how long did this lifestyle go on for knowing after you had HIV?
For 7 years.
7 years you were having sex unprotected.
Yeah, 7 years.
Can you give us, maybe if you had to count how many people you had sex with during this period, can you count? Can you give a number?
If I'm going to say how many ladies I've had sex with since I started having sex.
No, since you found out that you had HIV.
I think a total number of ladies I've had sex with can be 1,000, to be honest. But in that 7 years period, I could say maybe more than 400. Because I started having sex very, very early, right? And for any money I had then, because it was so cheap, I used to just have, sex with just anybody. There was a time I went to Obalende, and I saw all the girls that was there. All of them knew me, and I've had sex with all of them. So if I'm seeing you for the first time, it is because you're new. So it was like a very constant attitude. And when I went back to Abuja, it was still the same thing. And when I started pimping, right, it was now like necessary for those girls, because most of them wanted deals from me, being a pimp. So they didn't mind having sex with me, so I could always give them clients.
We're going to get to the point where you start pimping, but we need to go on a quick break, and we're going to be back shortly. Welcome back from that short break, guys. We're still seated in the studio speaking with Chika. So Chika, before we went on the break, I was going to ask a question. So you said, in general, you think you've had sex with about 1,000 girls. Do you know how many 1,000 girls is? That's over 900 people. And if we're really looking at it, you found out you had HIV while you were working there, but you could have had HIV longer than 7 years. It was that's just when you found out.
Yes, I was diagnosed with HIV. That I was told I have HIV just 7 years ago.
Just 7 years ago. So there's a possibility that you might have had it for 9 years.
Yes.
So there's a possibility that you might have slept with at least, let's say, 500 girls unprotected while having HIV. Have you ever gone back to Obalende to check on these girls, to just see how they're faring, or is that something you intend to do at any point? Or are you worried about, if I tell them now, are they going to arrest me? How are they going to, take it?
Okay, so before I came out and started saying all of these things, I knew that there could be consequences. I had that in the back of my head, but I just want to do right. I just want to do right. And one of the things that actually also propagated me coming out was when I saw a post that, it takes HIV as a virus when it's inside your body, HIV as a virus when it's inside your body, it takes 5 to 8 years to graduate into AIDS when it's not properly treated, when you're not on your medication. Because then, for that 7 years, I was also not on medication. So, I just started taking my medications November 25th, 2024.
That's just like towards the end of last year.
Exactly, that's when I started. So I saw a post that stated that if you're not on your medication and you have HIV for 5 to 8 years, it can graduate into AIDS. And when it's now AIDS, that's when it's a disease. And that's when it's now more life-threatening. So when I heard that, I felt like, oh, okay, I think you have just a little time, Chika. So how about you start releasing all of these things in your inside? Because I felt so bitter with the things I have been doing. And, I just wanted a very clean, not a clean slate, because I know that might not be possible. But I just wanted to do right. Yeah.
From listening to your story, there are a lot of people that might think, what are the chances that he's lying? He's not lying now. What if he's lying? What if this is just another attention-seeking attempt? Do you understand?
Okay. So, first off, I'm not interested to convince anyone, to be honest. And the difference between then and now is that for all of the interviews I've had, I didn't reach out to anybody. It was just in my platform. I was just talking. And then that's how I got I got invited by Lucky Udo, also got invited by my pastor, Apostle Femi Lazarus. I never met any of them. I never spoke to any of them. I mean, when my pastor heard, when he saw my video with Lucky Udo, right, he was like, why didn't I come to him? I was like, I don't want to put myself in the state where I have to start talking to church. I never spoke to anybody in the church. Like, I never told them anything about me. Like, I never said anything about me. And I was in the church for 2 months. So when he saw my videos with Lucky Udo, that's when he called me personally to come into his office. And that was on the 31st of, last year. Yeah, December. So when that happened, he interviewed me too, and yeah, it's not been me, just like the way I was approached by you. So.
Okay, so you mentioned something when you were speaking. You said you had posted at some point that you wanted to take your own life.
Yeah.
And it was all over the blogs. Do you think this was a bit to attract some attention? Because the thing is this, I've always wondered why people post that they want to kill themselves. People that really want to kill themselves don't put it out there. They just kill themselves. Nobody, if you're in the comfort of your home, there's a sniper there, you just drink it. Or if you have a gun, you just shoot yourself. So I've never really understood the concept of posting it. Do you think that was like an attention seeking? And did it got you the attention you were looking for? But you said you did it twice. So the second time, did you also post this?
Yes, I posted it the second time. I want to say something about those that try to maybe drop a note or try to make a video or post about wanting to kill themselves. See, for every time someone is in that state to take their own life, a part of them is looking for a reason not to. Like a little part. So I had a part of me that was looking for a reason not to, like just one voice, because it felt like everybody left me. So I just needed that one person that could just call and say, calm down.
And did you get that the
yes,
first time?
Yes, I did, actually.
You did? People reached out to you? And the second time?
The second time, nobody really cared. Really cared. But I got a funny test, because when I posted for the second time that I was going to die, I actually got sniper. And before I posted, I went to get sniper, and I wanted to drink it, but the smell was very bad. And I wanted to die, but then I didn't want to die the hard way, because I was like, oh wow. Then I had to also Google how sniper can take your life. And then I saw that your eye will puff out, your belly will be swollen, and you'll be stooling and all of that. And I was like, oh wow, I'm not really ready to die like that, So I decided to just post while trying to think of another idea. I just posted it. And then I got a text immediately on WhatsApp by Gossip Mail, because I tagged Gossip Mail.
Gossip Mail, the blog?
Yes.
Okay.
So Gossip Mail sent me a text, and they're like, they like my energy concerning this post.
Wait, sorry. You posted that you wanted to commit suicide, and Gossip Mail said they like your energy.
They like my energy concerning this post, that if I want a repost, I should pay them 50K for a repost.
Hold on.
I have it on my phone.
They want you to they want you to pay them 50K for them to post that you want to kill yourself.
Yes.
So to help you advertise your own suicide.
Exactly.
So you actually need money to die.
I was shocked. I didn't know.
And can we confirm this?
Yes, it's on my phone. Actually, my phone.
Okay, so we're going to look at the texts after the show just to be sure, because Gossip Mill is a brand, and I need to confirm.
And then I actually asked them, like, I sent them back a message. I was like, wait, I should pay 50K for me to post that I want to die, and then the person didn't reply, but he read it, and I still have the screenshot on my phone. So after that happened, I think I started having this positive mind shift. I started crying again. And then I started calling the things I have done what they were, for me to really realize that, okay, I've been really messing up. So I used to be a pimp, right?
Yeah, I was going to now talk about that. So at this point, you got tired of, having sex all the time.
Yeah.
And I think I have a question about the promiscuity. I've always wondered, there are a lot of men like you, actually. Actually, for some men, 1,000 body counts is nothing.
Yeah.
There are men that have had sex with 5,000 women. It's all vagina, right? Does it feel different with a different girl? Does sex feel... Because I always assume that the aim of that is to get an orgasm, right? So why not stick to one girl and get this orgasm? Or does the orgasm feel different with a different girl?
The truth is, at some point, the hookup girls, the ones I was exposed to, were never good enough to even help me get to that orgasm state. I personally feel like a lot of girls doing hookup don't know how to give pleasure. They just open their legs and just have sex. It became too casual for me. So, at some point, I'll just tell them to come. I'll tell them to touch themselves while I touch myself. For the most part of last year, that was what I was really doing. I got tired of penetration itself because they didn't know. Some of them don't even know how to mourn. They just do anyhow. So I got so... sorry about that. So I got so tired of that experience. And so I brought an idea of massage therapy. So I used to tell them that, okay, you know what? Another way you can actually have money from men is to do massage, erotic massage, always with the intention of leading to sex anyway. So when that was happening, with that stuff, I started getting my own pleasure from the girls because I would tell them that I want to teach them how to give massage.
So you would massage them?
Yes, and because I was good at it, because if the devil wants to use you to propagate an idea, he makes you good at it. So I was good at it, and I was having multiple, how would I put it, girls that will be around. Sometimes it'll be 4 girls. I'll tell them to touch themselves. Sometimes it'll be 3 girls. So they saw it as, something they have to do in order to get jobs. So they were all doing it. Okay,
so you were, at this point, you had already become a pimp.
Yes.
So you would gather a number of girls and then give them out to men.
Yes.
At a cost.
Yes. So I was always called by club PROs to bring girls to the club. Sometimes I'll take 16 girls to the club, and then they'll give me free drinks, they'll pay for transportation. I was never giving the girls because the girls have to find their way there, and so it was a very futile experience, futile lifestyle, very futile lifestyle.
So how much did each girl cost?
It depends on the girl. It depends on the girl.
What's the average price? The expensive girl, how much do you charge these clients for an expensive girl and for a cheap girl?
There are some girls the clients can pay 300K for. There are some girls that the clients can actually price for 35,000 now.
So what's the difference? Is it based on how she looks? Is it based on if she has a nice bomb or...
Standard, just the way they carry themselves and how clean they are, because most girls are actually dirty. So they look clean, but actually very dirty, So I've had, then when I was still in that business, I had so many clients that would call back and say, this particular girl smells or stuff like that. And they will reduce the money. So if it was 100K, they'll start pricing out that I cannot give her 100K. Or she's not so cool and all of that. And she did not satisfy them. So they start to price down to 60,000 naira or 50,000 naira. So yeah, stuff like that used to happen a lot.
So are you still currently in this pimping business?
No. So like I said, I had this positive mind shift, and then I discovered that, what I was doing was really bad. I called it what it was. People use the word pimp to kind of make it look okay, but it was basically facilitating sex. And then if you facilitate sex,
it's called sex trafficking.
It's called sex trafficking. So I got to call it what it was. And when I realized what it really was that I was doing, I felt so bad. And, so that's why, I'm out here.
So right now, I'm sure you have the meds now for HIV.
I actually have it here.
Oh, okay.
So this is my medication.
So this medication now is to bring down the viral load. Okay,
so HIV is a virus, right? It's a virus that when it comes into your body, it spreads and then suppresses your immune system. Every single person has an immune system. Your immune system is like your defender cells. It's what helps you fight off sicknesses and protect you from sicknesses, right? So now if HIV is in your body and suppresses your immune system, what happens is that there are things called opportunistic infections. There are infections that come into your body because your immune system has been suppressed. So now, that is what we call symptoms, but HIV does not have particular symptoms tied to it.
Right.
So for me, I was experiencing fever, diarrhea, I was experiencing night sweat, chills, fatigue, and all of that. So yes, that was the kind of symptoms that I was experiencing. Yeah. So yes, this medication now is supposed to help,
boost
my immune system to start fighting off the virus. If I had noticed my HIV, if I had noticed that I had HIV on time, and I've been taking this within 6 months to 1 year, I'm supposed to have gotten to the stage called U=U stage. That is the untransmittable and undetectable stage. So this medication can help the viral load, that is the HIV virus in your body, to get so suppressed to the barest minimum that it will no longer be detectable. So when you go and check your blood, HIV will not be in your bloodstreams, but then it's still there.
Right.
You still have to take your medications and all. And then when it's undetectable, it's untransmittable, meaning that even if I have intimacy with any other person, the intention of getting pregnant or whatsoever, I will not be infecting that person.
So currently, because you just started taking this medication last year, November, is there a possibility that your viral load is low enough? So are you currently having sex with people?
No.
You're not?
No, I'm not.
So how are you taking care of your sexual urges?
Okay, so right now, I no longer masturbate, I no longer drink, I no longer smoke. God has just been helping me, And when it comes to how I deal with my sexual urge, I don't have sexual urge anymore. Okay. So what I do is I don't expose myself to the things that could, provoke a sexual urge.
Right.
Yeah. So every like when I had this positive mindset, I got to know that I can set my social media feed to feed me the way I want. So I stopped, looking at all of those women stuff and all of that.
I think I have one last question to ask. I want you to speak to two people.
Okay.
The first category of people are the people that you slept with during this period, knowing that you had this virus. Because I think it takes a very selfish person, a very callous person, to know that they're living with a virus and continue sleeping with people unprotected. If you could meet with any of them or all of them one-on-one, what message would you pass to them? That's first.
Okay, so most of the girls I was exposed to were hookup girls.
Doesn't make it okay.
I know. Most of the girls I was exposed to were hookup girls. Not a justification, but there's something I want to bring to their light, right? Now, when you put yourself in situations where you have to sell your body for money, you will never really get to know what the repercussions might be. So, like I said, it's not a way of justifying my actions, but I think that it is very, 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 very important for people to start, being decent in the way they live their life and don't be reckless. Because recklessness can put you in a situation where you can get sicknesses or experiences that can change your life forever.
I understand that, but there are people that are not reckless. There are people that are living regular lives, but somehow they encountered guys like you that know that they have something, but they're still sleeping with. Yeah.
Yeah, so
do you feel remorse? Do you feel like you owe any of these girls an apology? Do you feel like
yes, because one of the reasons why I came out was to reach out to these girls that I no longer have their contact. That's why I came out, and it kind of worked to a large extent because some of them, reached out to me from TikTok, from Instagram. Some of them got my number and all of that. And, one of the things I always used to say is like, I'm sorry about everything that happened. And I know that sorry is not enough, but please just go check yourself and know your status and let me know the result.
And then my final question, because we have to round up soon.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to men or women that are living with a disease and are knowingly still, having sexual intercourse with people living with HIV, and they're still sleeping with people unprotected?
Okay. Well, one thing I have to say is that it's not a good thing to do. It's really not a good thing to do. You're not just affecting other people, you're actually doing more harm to yourself, because at the end of the day, you can get reinfected. And you can get what they call co-infection, 2 strides of HIV in your body, and that is really bad. And then if you're in a relationship with someone and you're HIV positive and you have not told the person, it's good for you to come out and tell the person about your status. If the relationship is supposed to continue, it will continue. If it's supposed to die off, it will die off. But, putting other people at risk is not what we should be doing, right now. Do you understand? So it's very, very important. And if you adhere to your medications, you can get to become undetectable and untransmittable. And that way you can be in a decent relationship. But at the end of the day, it is good for you to tell your spouse, your partner, about your HIV status. And, using this medium to also really, really get to apologize to people that have put at risk and, all of that. So
thank you so much, Chika. I think you're very brave. It's not easy. What you're doing is not easy. And, I know that you're aware that there might be consequences for this because you don't know who is watching. But I applaud you for this bravery. And now, what do you do now?
I just want to say something. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's this news about Donald Trump halting the funding of HIV in Nigeria. And that is really scary because the HIV population in Nigeria is more than what we all think. Because I used to always say that the amount of people that are living with HIV that are not aware that they have it is far more than the people living with HIV that are aware that they have it. So shutting down or not funding HIV in Nigeria is going to be a big deal. I heard they've resolved. I don't know how solidified that statement is, but please let's just all find a way to make sure that doesn't happen, because it's going to put a lot of people at risk. Thank you.
So, guys, Chika is now a photographer. You are a photographer, right?
Yes.
So, of course, you can always book him. If there are any NGOs that wants to work with him, you can reach out to me and then we'll give you his contact. And, he does photography for a living now. He has a social media account that has some of his work. And, just in case you want to patronize him, we would also leave that in the caption or in the comment section. So there are ways to reach out to him. And yes, we have come to the end of this episode. I hope that you've learned 1 or 2 things from this episode. And yeah, this is a very sensitive topic. I don't want to comment. I will just leave it at this, and I will see you next week. Same time, same station. Goodbye.